portion. We're in the Torah portion, Vayishlach, the story of Jacob, Yaakov, his return home, and the meeting with Esav. Yesterday we had the preliminary meeting, which was with Esav's angel, and the battle with the man, and the change of name, and everything else. Let's continue. We are third reading in Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 32, verse 31.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Vayikra Yaakov, and Yaakov called Shem HaMakom, the name of the place where all this happened, Peniel. He called it Peniel. Why? So there's two words in there, Pnei Kel, the face of God, as he says. Kira'isi, because I saw Elohim, God, panim el panim, face to face, nafshi, and he saved my soul. He spared me. He spared my life. Rashi in 31 is none. Okay, 32. Vayishlach lo hashemesh, and the sun rose for him. Kasher avar, right? Kasher avar es Peniel, when he passed Peniel, v'hut seleya al yerechai, and he was limping on his side, hip side. Let's see Rashi. 32. V'yishlach lo hashemesh, and the sun rose for him. Lo shem b'nei adam hu. This is the way people speak. Right? They say, Kishiganu l'mokum pleni, then we arrived at a certain place, irlanu ashachar, that the dawn began to become light for us. Right? In other words, this is the way people speak, as if the sun was rising for you. Right? Right? That's a simple meaning. Midrash Haggadah, but Rashi is not satisfied with that, because even though that's the way you could say people speak, but this is Torah speaking. So why is the Torah speaking that way? So must be there's something more here. So Rashi brings from the Midrash, the Yizrach loy, and the sun rose for him, which implies the tzarchoi, for his needs, the rapis tzilosei, to heal his limp. Kimad de tema, as the verse says, Shemesh Zaka u'marpe kenafeha, the son of charity with healing on its wings, a verse in Malachi in Nach.
The sun is healing.
Yeah, the sun is healing. Get your vitamin D. Who just told me that they're not getting vitamin D because it's winter time, so they're taking the vitamin to replace the sun.
We're all sick in Montreal. Not enough sun.
Not enough sun. Yeah.
However, it was too, but the place was called Pen but it was just Pen but it didn't, and it's spelled differently in Hebrew as well too.
Right, from the Yud to the Vav. Good question.
They made a research that countries that has less sun, like England, it's all gray, are all depressed and
Right.
more suicides.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yep. So with the Tzilim, the Esan shows in those hours, Shemi Hara Lishgoya, that the sun had hurried to set Bishvilai for him, Kishiyatzim Beershava, when he left Beershava at the beginning of Parshas Vayetze, Mihira Lizreach Bishvilai. Now the same sun hurried to rise for him, and he was limping Kishizar Hashemesh when the sun rose. So the same sun that, remember, Parshas Vayetze, when he went there and he went to sleep, it quickly set, and now it quickly rose up, right, for his sake. So in both instances, it was for his sake. Okay.
Keep the balance.
I guess made up for what we lost before. Okay. 33.
Hello? A question?
I know Rashi doesn't address it. Rashi doesn't address it, so I don't have an answer.
Okay.
Good question.
What's the question?
Starting on this. different.
First it's Peniel, and then it's Penuel. So it's a different, from the Yud became a Vav. So Rashi doesn't address it. Okay, I know. Well, let's see if we can find something. Al-Kain, therefore, Lo yoichlu b'nei Israel. They will not eat the children of Israel, Jewish people. It's the Gida Nashe. The Gida Nashe, which is the displaced sinew, al kaf hayareach, on the ball of the thigh bone, ada yemazeh, to this very day, kinaga b'kaf yerech Yaakov b'Gida Nashe. Why? Because he struck the ball, Jacob's thigh bone, on the displaced sinew. Rashi, Gida Nasha, a displaced sinew. Right. So Rashi, Lama Nikra Shema Gida Nasha. Why is it called a displaced sinew? The fishin Nasha because it popped out of its place. Va'ala, and it moved upwards. V'hu Lashon Kvitza. There's a language of jumping. It means to jump out of place in this instance. V'chein nashso gvurosam, their strength had sprung away. So the word gid, or nasha, sorry, the word nasha is to be moved from place. V'chein kinasim is called amali. God made me spring away from all of my hardship. Right, that'll be later on. So just the word nasha means to be displaced, to jump, to
So
move
I
out of
guess-
place.
I guess Menashe is the same source.
That's interesting.
Moshe
Menashe means to
Tzedakah.
forget. So
Kinishani, Elokim.
because he made me forget God.
But
There
it's
it's
the same-
forget. Forget
the
is
same
also, I
kind of
guess,
roots.
displaced. Forgetting is displaced. In other words, you have something that you, in your head, or right, you remember it, and then you forget it. You don't forget something that you never knew, right? You forget something that you knew. So it means it was also displaced from your head. Forgetting is a displacing.
Mhm.
So it's the same idea. Same idea. Yeah.
Menashe.
Okay. Chapter 33, verse 1. Okay, guess what's happening? This is it. Contact sport. Yeah, the moment of truth. Okay, chapter 31, verse 1. V'yisa, and he raised Yaakov raised Einav his eyes, V'yar, and he saw, V'hine, and behold, Esav is coming, V'imoy, and with them, Arba Meyos, 400 ish men, V'yichatz es hayeladim. So he divided, Yichatz, like from the word chetzi, meaning half. He divided his Hayeladim, Aleah, the children among Leah, Baal Rachel and Rachel, Baal Shesh Shvaches, and the two handmaids. No Rashi. Next verse. Verse number 2. And he placed the Shvachos, the maidservants, together with their children first. And Leah and her children after them. That's Rachel, that's Yosef Acharonim, and Rachel and Yosef after them. So Rashi says, Leah and her children next. Achron Chaviv, the further back, the more it was dear to Yaakov. Okay. Verse number 3. Hold on. So what so let's let's read the verses, because what I want to keep in mind is, remember no, not on the chair. Yeah. Ay. Second, folks. Yeah. Just a little coffee mishap over here.
But again,
Hey, I should maybe just bring the garbage here, be easier. We'll just sweep it into the garbage. No, just easier this way.
already dirty anyway.
Huh? No, I'm going to use it for other things. That's instead of just using it for the wastefully that way. Cute. He got get this. Huh?
There. Oh.
Yeah. All right. Kapara. Amém. Okay,
Perfect.
thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay. L'chaim bracha. You know what they say? Good to the last drop. That's all I got was the last drop. Okay. So I just keep in mind over here the order of the encampment. Okay. Let's keep in mind. We're in verse number 3. V'hu avar lifneihem. And he went ahead of them. V'yishtachvu arza. See, what I don't get over here, he went in front. What the whole plan was different. What was the plan? That the gift would go first, right?
Oh, right.
And then it would be all of the rest of the gift would, I don't see that exactly. Right? Let's see if Rashi picks up on that. Right? Because look in verse number 3. He went in front of the and he bowed to the earth, Sheva Pamim 7 times. Ad Gishtei, Ad Achiv, until he reached his brother. So this is like, whoa. Thank you. Leitaka Pamayim. Leitaka Pamayim. L'chaim. Thank you. So Rashi, Avarlif name, he passed ahead of him. Amar, he said, if that evil will come to do battle, let him battle with me first. Okay. Next verse. V'yaretz Esav, and Esav ran to greet him. V'chapkeu, and he embraced him. V'ipol al tzavara, and he fell on his neck. V'yishakehu, and he kissed him. If you notice, there's dots on top of the v'yishakehu. Rashi will pick up on that. There's a few times in the Torah that there's literally dots on top of the letters. There's no vowels in the Torah. Not that these are vowels, but these are to say something. We'll see. V'yivku, and they cried. They both cried. Rashi number 4. Whoa, this is getting very heavy duty. V'yichabkehu, And he says, and he embraced him. Why did he embrace him? Well, he was coming after him with 400 men, right? He was still angry. And all of a sudden, so Rashi's picking up on that. Why is he embracing him? Because Esav's mercy came forth. When he saw that Yaakov was bowing, all of these bows, the 7 times that he bowed, right? It came out his compassion. Wow. In other words, he made himself vulnerable. You see that, right? When you make yourself vulnerable to somebody, right, who's maybe upset with you, that brings out compassion in that person who's upset with you. That's what happened here. He didn't like flex his muscle. I'm going to show you my strength, right? Even though this is greater strength, this is inner strength. Vishakehu, now Rashi picks up on the word that he kissed him. Nakud, I love that there's dots on this word, right? There's dots on this word. And there's a disagreement in the Medrash. There are those who expound the dots, to say that he didn't kiss him with all of his heart. That's one opinion. One opinion says the reasons the dotted letters outnumber the undotted letters, right? But here the dotted letters, the letters are all dotted. So it's coming to tell us something more. In other words, it's coming to tell us that to remove something from these words, right? It says, what does the word say? He kissed him. So what are you removing? All of the fact that it's dotted on every letter, this opinion is saying that it is coming to say lessening the word. What does it mean to lessen the word? I mean, he didn't do it with all of his heart, right? That's one opinion, right? Another opinion, Amar Reb Shimon ben Yochai, Reb Shimon bar Yochai said, what did he say? Allah, it's a given fact. Esav saying is Yaakov, the Yaakov, Esav hates Yaakov. This is a very famous line. That this is the line of why non-Jews hate Jews. It's a known fact. It's a fact. It's part of the reality of creation. It's a given fact that Esav hates Yaakov. Ella shenichmu rachma, but the mercy was warmed, aroused at that Vayishlach at that time, and he actually did kiss him with his full heart. The general principle is Esav hates Yaakov. At that moment, he had compassion.
It's done by the Zohar. It says that he tried to bite his neck, and it was a miracle that the neck of Yaakov became like a marble.
Yeah. Yeah. Last verse. Yeah. So, according to Rabbi Shimon Yochai, is like this. He kissed him. If it would have been without dots, then because there's a given fact, because it's axiomatic that Esav hates Yaakov, that means that kiss would not have been real. Here it's saying the dots are giving emphasis to the word, not the opposite, not removing from the word, emphasis to the word. Then in that moment, he did do it genuinely. Difference of opinion.
This way or that way.
Huh? Either this way or that way. Exactly. Either it's lessening or it's emphasizing.
But it's not a simple.
Well, that's for sure it's not, because otherwise it would not be dotted. It wouldn't be dotted. So it's either, is it coming to lessen or is it coming to make more? So it depends where you're starting. According to Rabbi Shimon Yochai, you're starting axiomatic that Esav hates Yaakov. Finished. That's the prince. That's the rule. So therefore, the emphasis over here at this moment, he kissed him with full heart. It was genuine.
We say in English, what's the point?
Wait, what do you mean?
What?
Oh, what's the point? Right. What's the point? What's the points?
Yeah, what's the point?
So
Yeah.
a kiss is not just a kiss.
Huh?
A kiss is not just a kiss.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's so it's where you start off with, right? The first opinion is starting off not with it's anything axiomatic. So therefore, since it's coming saying he's kissing, so why would it have to be lessening? Why couldn't it be? Oh, because if it was a full heart, if it meant what it said, then you don't need the dots. The first opinion, right? So the dots can come to say that it's not meant to be what it's saying, meaning it's less. He didn't really mean it. Oh, got it. Okay. Interesting. Okay, last verse for today. Number 5. V'yisa seinav, and he lifted up his eyes, v'yaris anashim, and he saw the women, v'sayaladim, and the children, v'yoimer, and he said, Mi elilach, who are these to you? V'yoimer, and he said, Yaladim asher chanan elakim esavdecha. These are the children that God had graciously given to your servant. Rashi, mi elilach, who are these to you? Mi elilach, who are they that they should be yours? How are they yours? In other words, that they were his, that he knew. That he knew, obviously, that they were his, right? The question, how are they yours? How are they yours?
How else could it be his?
No, is it because you have one wife, you have maidservants? Like, how do they become, right?
Just like asking him, like, how many wives do you have?
Implied in that. Yeah.
The maidservants, they married him too, right?
Without a ksuba. So it's not a real marriage without a ksuba. That's what makes them maidservants. They don't get a ksuba.
But so the children are still there. Because in the little bit of Arabic,
Okay, let's see the Rebbe's, let's take a moment. Let's take a moment, see the Rebbe's thoughts over here. Okay. Okay, you ready? So Reb Shimon says, halacha, right? That it's a axiomatic principle, that it's known that Esav hates Yaakov, except at that moment, his compassion was revealed, and he kissed him with a full heart, right? That's the second opinion that Rashi brings down, right? So the Rebbe asks, so in the first opinion, if you notice, it says there's an opinion. It doesn't say who's the opinion. But here it says the name of him. The fact that Rashi brings down his name means it's got to be important to understanding the simple meaning of the text. Why do we need to know it was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that said it? In other words, either it's an understanding of the text, it's irrelevant of who said it, right? The fact that you say who said it means that is giving us greater understanding of the simple meaning of the text. How so? Follow the question? Yeah? Huh?
Who was the master of the...
Don't answer. Let the Rebbe.
Yeah, who
No,
is he?
No, but what do we need to know who it was? How is that?
The Rebbe is saying.
He's asking the question, right? The fact that Rashi brings it means and you see in the first opinion, he doesn't bring who the name of the person is, right? Because it wasn't important to know that. But here he brings it, so it means it's important to know How so? How does that add? Again, Rashi's not coming to tell me history. He's not coming to tell me about a people. He's coming to give us the meaning of the text. So what do I have to know? Is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? Either it's the understanding of the simple meaning of the text, right, on its own. So I don't need to know that who said it.
This case.
In the Midrash, there's a difference of opinion who actually said this statement. No, it's not unilaterally was Shimon Bar Yochai. Some say it was Shimon ben Elazar. And Rashi picks up Shimon Bar Yochai. Why? Right? So we can say, because Rashi's coming over here to answer a question that would come up. Since it says halacha he. Halacha means that it's axiomatic, right? That's what it means. Axiomatic. That it's known that Esav hates Yaakov. Then seemingly it's more fitting the first explanation of Rashi. That the kiss was not all with a full heart. Now, if you're saying it's axiomatic that he doesn't love him, that he hates him rather, he hates him, right? So then it seems like the first explanation makes more sense, right? That this kiss was also not done with full heart, right? So why does he bring the second explanation that at that moment he did it with a full heart? Which in that moment, he went from one extreme to the other extreme. How does that make sense? Where does it come from? Why do you explain it that way? Right? When it would have been more simple to explain it, then it was not with a full heart. So the explanation is, that's why he says Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Why? The Rashbi lived in a time of exile of the Romans after the destruction of the first temple, about 100 years later, right? Lived in the 2nd century of the Common Era, when there were a lot of difficult decrees against the Jewish people in general and on him in particular, right? That for him to be saved, he had to hide in a cave for 13 years. He had to hide in order, him and his son, in order to not be found by the Romans. They wanted to kill him. Nonetheless, we find in him that when he needed to go to Rome, in order to annul a decree for the Jewish people, who did they send? They sent the Rashbi. They sent him. Why? Because he was Malumat Benisim. Miracles just, were like, at his foot. Like everything was miraculous around him. So much so, it was miraculous that when he went to Rome to annul the decree, that they gave him the decree and he ripped it up. Not only they annulled the decree, but he himself, they gave it to him, to the written decree, to annul it, to rip it up.
Oh.
Right?
Huh.
Therefore, Rashi says, as Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, that this is what happened here to Yaakov. That even though Esav hates Yaakov with such a strong hatred, but since Yaakov, he was also a miraculous person, right? The miracles happened to him. So therefore it came up to him that he was able to affect that in that moment, he had compassion. Wow, that's so powerful. In other words, it's what the Rebbe is bringing out here. It's not the greatness of Esav in that moment. It was the greatness of Yaakov, that he was able to affect him, which that's powerful now. Gives a whole different angle on it. It's not to his, he was a good, he wasn't good. Esav wasn't good, right? It was that it was such a individual that he had such a power that he was able to affect him in that moment. In that moment. Wow.
And how was he able to do that?
Because he's Yaakov Avinu. Because he's not me and he's not you. That's how.
Was such a powerful.
Oh, because he was Melumad Ben Nisim. He was, miracles were abound by him, right? That's why the Rashbi was able to go to Rome and to do things that others couldn't do. Because he was such a holy person, right? That he would be able to. So Yaakov's a similar thing. So Rashi, by bringing out Shimon Bar Yochai, is giving the explanation, hinting to it. It's only hinting to it, right? That just as Reb Shimon Bar Yochai had that uniqueness, right? Of one extreme, imagine a terrible decree against the Jewish people. Not only is it annulled, but he's, like think about it. That doesn't even make sense. Like the Romans would allow such a thing. It's sort of like almost a patch and punim. It's like, it's disgraceful for them that a Jew over here, he's the one who's ripping up the decree, rather than they and their might and their power. They're the ones who make, it's okay, we'll annul it, right? We're the good ones. It's the same thing as over here. It's his power of Yaakov that brought out an extreme reaction, opposite reaction of what he would normally be. That's what it, right? So therefore you bring out Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, hinting to that idea. Wow.
Question.
Huh?
It says that a substance of Yaakov, it's like a given fact.
Right.
We have to accept it. But the sub had reasons. It's not just coming from nowhere. It's not a
Therefore,
given fact. He was upset about the Bechorah, about his blessings, about things that happen. Not that it's justified, but still, he wasn't hating for the pure hatred.
are you sure?
Hmm?
Are you sure?
Yeah, Torah says
Huh?
that he was upset over these things.
Good, but like, are you sure that it's not that it if his father said the brachas belong to him, Yitzchak said the brachas belong to him, right? Oh, Yaakveni pamayim 2 times. Oh, you mean you sold it? So you sold it. So you caused all of this to happen. So it belongs to him. So your father tells you this, and okay, maybe you're upset, but 20 years later, you're still upset and you're coming after him with 400 men?
Wasn't he really coming after him, or they were just on the way to Edom? It says that he was just traveling.
It came with it. No, the verse says, coming after you. The Malach came, right? The messenger came. And it came back and said, he's coming after you, and he's not happy. He's not a happy camper.